All right, everybody. Hi, and sorry I'm a couple minutes late. I came in late and then had to take a shower. So, it looks like I've got three of you on. So, hello, hello. Shortest day of the year. Yule, all that good stuff, depending on what your outlook of things are. But yeah, from here the sun is coming back. Yay! Which means gardening season just around the corner. Who's excited for that? I know I am. I went out into the dome today to kind of see how we're doing in there, and things are still alive. Lettuce is dead. Arugula is dead. Almost everything else is alive. Kind of looking a little sad, but with daylight getting longer, I'm really excited that things are going to turn around. So let's see, who do we got here? So we've got Louis Navarro. Hello from the Philippines. Hello. And I see Celeste is here from South Africa. 3:30 in the morning. What are you doing up that time of day? Uh, and I'm going to say this wrong. Marzi Dotes. I hope I don't say that wrong. That's a tough one for me. And the Allen Shire, our friends over in Chilliquin. So, I have some turnip greens. I have some turnips growing right now, and we are hosting Christmas, just me and my parents, and Kaden, of course, and, dad and mom are not sold on turnips, so we're having turnips because I have some really beautiful turnips sitting in the greenhouse right now. So I'm going with roasted turnips for Christmas, and, I'm not gonna tell them. We're just gonna, like, slide them on the table and see if they notice, so we'll see how that goes. Okay, so as usual, you can type in anything you want, and I will answer it as I get going. Some of the questions that I've had this week, of course, always going to be about rabbits, but I had an interview I've never covered before, and I'll probably do a video coming up on it. Somebody was concerned about I want to say it was a 3 pound Polish that was in with like a 8 or 10 pound doe of some sort. I think it was a New Zealand doe, and they were asking should they go get the male neutered, who I guess is probably the Polish, and because they were just kind of thinking it's the size difference, right? Um, no, that rabbits are very determined breeders. So I have seen a 2 pound lionhead breed a 10 pound New Zealand doe. So size in this does not matter one bit. I've also seen a big doe like lift and flat out lift a buck off the cage floor. Boys are determined, so they will go for it regardless. So let's see. It's an old song. Mares eat oats and does eat oats. I don't know that song. That'd be interesting. I may Google that and see if I can come up with it with what that comes back as. Louis, I love your channel. Learned so much about rabbit raising. Well, thank you. We do our absolute best. I love the questions from overseas. So I get, of course, Celeste sends me stuff from South Africa, and I talked to some folks actually from the Philippines today. We've had India, Afghanistan. Of course, I get stuff from the UK. I've got a whole list in my phone that I keep running for the different countries because I think it's kind of cool. I like to see that everybody's raising rabbits. We've even had some people that we've talked to in Australia, although there's not a whole lot of domestic rabbit raising going on over there. Just they've had disease problems, and in some places, my understanding is it's not legal to raise rabbits. So, Robin South, I like cream turnips. I've never had cream turnips, but I'm ultra picky about the whole creamed thing. Like, I don't like um, I don't like cream spinach. I don't like cream corn, any of that kind of stuff. So it sounds interesting though. I may Google the recipe and to see what all's in it. Avery Howell, hi. Anita, hi, just got here. Glad you could make it, Anita. I always look to see if you're going to make one or not. Um, but yeah, so getting back to that question, or I was talking about size doesn't matter a whole lot. Now, on the other side of that, be very cautious about putting a small doe with a big buck. Most of us know not to do that. If it's within the same breed, sometimes you'll run into a situation like with my Americans, it's not unusual for sometimes I'd have a doe who's sitting at 10 pounds. When she's ready to breed, maybe she's going to finish a little bit bigger than that. But the bucks can go all the way to 11. So I've used an 11-pound buck on a 10-pound doe, and it's okay. I mean, it's within the breed standard, so you're looking all right. But basically, the old rule of thumb that I was taught was you don't want a buck bigger than about 10% of your doe. So if she's at 10 and he's at 11, that's okay. But you got to be really careful about that kind of stuff. Alan Shire, where did you hear about the passports to cross state lines? Don't have an answer here since people are from. Don't have to answer here since people are from all over. Um, I'm assuming you're talking about that video we did the other day where they were talking about possibly doing um, vaccination passports. It's actually been in several articles. Kanan was reading them to me. If I can get him to find where we were reading that at, we'll send you a message on it. Because I didn't actually read the article. He read it to me the other morning. So, and I've seen it on. I did see it mentioned on a couple of different things, but I don't know what they're going to do with the whole vaccine deal right now. So we'll see. Yes, yeah. I figured that was probably. I had to think about it. Because we have to have vaccination records or health certificates right now to cross into California. So I was like, for rabbits, no, but for vaccinations for people, yeah. It's been in a couple of different articles that we've read, but I'll see if he can figure out where we had read that most recently. I saw on the Livestock Conservancy website that harlequins are being studied. I hope they make it on there. I hope they don't, and I really don't think we're going to. While we are harlequins are a heritage breed, we're not in any danger of needing conservation. The club has grown and grown and grown since I've been in it, and I've been in harlequins now for I want to say about 6 years in the club. Our membership has almost doubled. So we're not in any danger whatsoever. I'm glad that they're not on the conservation list. I'd like to see some of these other breeds there are breeds right behind us that are listed like towards study that are in far, far more danger than we are. So I'd like to see some of those other breeds getting the help from the conservancy that they need. So I don't think we'll ever end up on the list. Uh, Alan Shire, okay, thanks. Got me freaked out a bit. Our son is in Washington. I wouldn't panic yet. I mean, it's one of those things that when it comes to the idea of doing a vaccination passport, even if they try to do it, you're looking at months and months and months. The thing Kanan was reading was it looked like the class 5 people, which is what we are because we're not healthcare workers or any of that. We weren't in any danger, I guess, of even being offered the vaccine for at least 6 to 9 months. So there's no way for them to do a passport until everybody's had the option to get it. So it's just kind of one of those things. Robin South, Australia had a huge overpopulation of wild rabbits, released a virus like chickenpox. When my first 2 litters got sick that I asked you about, they ended up with bulging eyes and dying within 2 days. Yeah, I think that's RHD that they actually released into Australia. At least that's what I thought it was, but maybe it's not. But they did. They had a huge wild rabbit population problem, and so they did what people seem to think is okay and released basically a plague upon them because the agricultural community was upset that rabbits were decimating crops and things. So just kind of one of those things. Uh I looked it up. It's the only reason I know this much sounded like that virus. And it could be. I mean, RHD was just coming in. I mean, we've had hot spots of RHD in the country the last couple of years, but RHDV2 really got kicked off this year. So it's hard to say. It could have. That's why when you had those problems and we were talking about it, I was like, I'm not sure what this is, but it could be something pretty ugly. Let's see, Marzi, and I'm gonna keep calling you Marzi, and if that's wrong, just tell me I'm an idiot and I can't pronounce anything. Oh, that's cool. I had never seen Harlequins since finding your channel, but I'm green as grass. Harlequins are funny. We're in spots, basically, which is funny because we're striped. Um, there's a lot of breeders on the East Coast. Like we have quite a few in North Carolina, Ohio. There's a pretty big group in Michigan, Wisconsin. but not so much here. Like we have, I want to say we're up to like 6 actual breeders who show here in Oregon, but Oregon's a big state. So we're pretty spread out. Like there's me and a girlfriend who's like 35 miles from me. The next breeder is 3 hours. And then the next two breeders are like 2 hours past her. So they're very spotty. Like I don't think we have any breeders in Nebraska right now or Colorado, Utah, any of that. So they're kind of spotty, but we do have quite a few on the East Coast. Louis, more people here in the Philippines are importing rabbits from Indonesia, Europe, and the US. Uh, I have a friend who actually judged a show last year or the year before in Indonesia. So they're getting a lot of stuff going there. It looks like that's kind of like the I've heard that it's kind of the jumping off point into Asia. So a lot of rabbits are going into Indonesia and then the surrounding countries are importing from there. So that's kind of cool. Homesteading pastor. Hello, you guys watching from South Carolina. Hello, glad to have you. Um, Louis, some don't follow quarantine protocol. It's scary. Yeah, quarantine, whether you're talking people or rabbits, is always a good idea. Dennis, ironic how they developed a vaccine to cure an unknown virus in 7 months, but no dent in diabetes, cancer, or Alzheimer's. And the study has been ongoing for years. Nah, nah. I'm pretty. I'm gonna keep my opinion on the whole thing to myself. Obviously, I'm not a doctor. I can't tell you one way or another, but there's a lot of stuff here that's completely shady, and I think even if you are a strong believer in the whole virus thing or a strong non-believer, even the strong believers are pretty much like something hinky is going on here. So I don't know. I'll keep it to myself, but basically, I agree there's something really strange going on. Celeste, South Africa has a total ban on importing rabbits or semen. It really limits our options, but we also don't have any diseases. That's kind of interesting. A lot of countries have bans on stuff, like I just read something the other day about a country that does not allow any importation of goats. And it's because they have a clean population and they don't want anything else coming in. So, yeah, I guess it kind of varies from, country to country, but if you've got a clean population, it's definitely worth keeping it clean. John, I really want to start in Nebraska, but I haven't been able to get any good stock, especially now with the virus. Be patient, John. And I will tell you that it's really hard to find good stock. If somebody's offering you brood stock, start with brood stock. Unfortunately, it is so hard to get a really good, high quality Harlequin that a lot of people won't part with them. I sell probably more of them than anybody, and that's because I have a pretty big herd compared to a lot of the people in our breed. Um, but not everybody's going to do that. For people who've got like 10 or 12, they're going to keep the best stuff. You're not going to get it from just anybody. And like I said, I sell them, but my prices are high. So if you want them, you've got to pay for them. RW, hello everybody. Trinidad in the house. Hello, hello. I'm hopeful for things to cool down worldwide with this virus so you guys could send Harlequins my way. We're pretty limited on bloodlines here. That's the case in a lot of countries where you seem to not have much in the way of stock. So it seems like every country has at least New Zealand's and Californians because I talk to a lot of people and that's what everybody seems to have. So we'll see. I mean, I couldn't even begin to tell you at this point what's going to happen. I've given up even trying to understand what's going on. If I know some people watched and commented on the video from Saturday, and we're both just like, who knows what's going to happen anymore? It's just kind of the way things are. Just roll with the punches and do the best you can, I suppose. All right, Robin, I totally agree regarding the vaccine. Yeah, it's an interesting thing. I don't know what we'll end up doing. Farm Her 1956 evening, everybody. Welcome to the party. Or at least me talking quickly about 400 different things. But okay, so I'm caught up on comments. Y'all just keep them coming and I'll catch them as I go. Anyway, so we talked about the sizing thing in rabbits. When we are done with this, I am filming a video to answer the question that I've gotten a lot of people asking, and that is, what do I consider the ultimate homestead rabbit? Something that is not only good for meat, but pelts, and good temperament and all that good stuff. So I'm going to be filming that. That should be, if Kanan doesn't have any trouble editing it tonight, it should be out tomorrow. I'm kind of slow on this, but for everybody who's been asking, my back is pretty much great. I haven't had any problem here in the last 3 days. What that means is I am probably going to get overconfident and do something horribly stupid and end up in excruciating pain. But as of right now, everything is going okay. So I'm hoping to get back to doing videos fairly consistently. I know that Kanan's got videos for this coming Saturday, and the next Saturday we'll do our year review where we talk about all the things that we plan to do and how many of them we failed on miserably. And then we'll have our 2021 goals, which, of course, the big one being just to survive another year, which, you know, so far so good. Nobody's died around here yet. So, uh, Jim, good news. Yeah. 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 I'm all healed up, hopefully. That I'm telling you, the only thing that did me any kind of good was the heating pad. So Kanan got to be the hero for the heating pad thing. And now I like kind of guard it. It's kind of like my little my precious. I see him over there looking at it like, that looks nice. No, it's mine. It's all mine. Back re-injuries are brutal. Don't chance it. You know, I'm not a terribly patient person to start with, and I don't like sitting in the house. So it's been really frustrating. But tomorrow I'm gonna kind of be stuck in the house, kind of not getting too crazy anyway. We butchered some chickens last week. I've been cooking and boiling the meat off, so I'm canning all day tomorrow. So it's just kind of one of those things. Plenty of rabbits up in Northeast Pennsylvania, I'm assuming. Yes, we've got lots of Harlequin breeders up that way. There's a lot of breeders in the Northeast in general, like all kinds of stuff. Dennis, rabbit question: would a cross between a mini Rex and a new meat rabbit be a good cross for a single person on or a single person homesteading? Um, well, in Gen 1, you're gonna have wild inconsistencies. If you wanted to make your own, like, I'm trying to think of how to put this. If you wanted to kind of create your own rabbit, you certainly could do that. Um, I'll tell you right now, I would save myself a whole lot of effort, and I would just go get a Florida white or a lilac, or even I'd stay away from the Harlequins. Can be a little bit big, but I would pick like a small to medium sized breed, and your Florida white and your lilac are pretty much right already there. They're going to be somewhere around 5 to 7 pounds mature, so they're not huge. And then it's all about just butchering time. I mean, those will give you the best overall growth, because if you just tried to use a meat breed and try and cull them early, you'll get that real bony little junior. But I would try and pick excuse me. I would try and pick something like a lilac or a Florida white. Um, but could you? Yeah, I suppose so. I mean, like I said, you'd have to be pretty selective. So what you would do is you would cross a mini Rex to, say, a New Zealand. Um, the mini Rex, of course, is going to need to be a buck. You're going to have to find a New Zealand doe that's willing to breed to a smaller buck, which might not have any trouble with. You would have to, in that first generation, basically, grow them all the way out to maturity and see who's going to hit the sizes that you're looking for, and then keep two siblings and breed them together and basically try and make your own breed. I hope that makes sense. But yeah, I would try and find an actual established breed like the lilac or the Florida white. It'll just be easier. But if you can't find one, yeah, you can totally do that. It's just you're not going to get consistency otherwise. So, like your first generation of the mini Rex to the New Zealand, you're going to get wild growth rates. In fact, most of the offspring are going to grow on mom's timeline. Where they end up mature wise is where you're really going to have a huge variance. Some are going to take after the mini Rex, some are going to take after the New Zealand, some are going to hit right in between. So it's kind of a complicated deal, but you could do it. Okay, thanks for the information. I actually considered a lilac. Do you have a breeder in mind in Wisconsin? Looked at the Arbo website and found nothing. Michigan. Maddie Pratt is in Michigan, and her barn partner is Adam Schuler, I want to say, out of Idaho. I may have to look that up and try and find out for you. But um, Maddie is in Michigan. She's an ARBA judge, as is her barn partner Adam. They're great. They have beautiful lilacs. But she might be able to find you a breeder near her. I'm not as well connected to any of the lilac breeders off the West Coast. So I know a fair amount on the West Coast, but I don't know a whole lot of the Midwest and Eastern breeders with the lilacs. But you may try and find out if you can get a hold of Maddie or Adam. They're both on Facebook. I know not everybody is, but I can try and look and find it. The Lilacs have a national club and a breed website for their national club. You just may have to Google it. And their secretary is really good about answering emails and getting you hooked up with somebody. So you may try that as well. That may help. Okay, RW Yeppers, New Zealand's and Callies are the common breeds here. Yeah, it seems like in most countries that's like the first thing that everybody imports because they're the best known for meat breeding. So, Robin, we are all human. I always overdo it. I'm a terminal overdoer. Kanan's always mad at me about that. Ree, a big thanks for all your information. This was our first year and learned so much from your channel. Well, good. I'm glad that it's helping. Um, it never set out to be a rabbit channel for sure, and it's not. Rabbits are still a small part of what we do, but it's been it's been nice to connect with a lot of people and be able to help and kind of answer a lot of questions and kind of shore up some misconceptions and that kind of thing. We enjoy the rabbits. We think they're a great animal and probably the best thing to have on the homestead. First and foremost is rabbits. So I'm glad that people are getting something out of the videos. Robin, I crossed New Zealand with a checker giant. Hard for me to butcher, very large, and they were so sweet. Not nasty personalities. Well, that's kind of interesting. Checker giants are a running class breed. So they're kind of, I had one years ago that was a checkered New Zealand cross, and she was an overall nice meat rabbit, but she was huge. I didn't like her bone density. She was way too bony because of the giant structure in there. So yeah, it's an interesting cross, and she was nice enough. Um she was kind of terrified of everything. That was just the people I had gotten her from. She was about a year old when I brought her home, and her offspring were really really sweet. So they were interesting. Ray Williams, Nikki, was you planning on having a go class like you had with the rabbit class? Well, hey, Ray, I haven't talked to you since you came for rabbit class, I don't think. We are talking about it. If I don't teach it, I do have a local gal who I hope to be bringing into a lot of videos coming this next year. She's probably even more, well, I will say not probably, she is more experienced with the goats even than I am. So we are talking about that. So the things that we have kind of on the list for this next year, rabbit classes. We are talking about doing a short or half day type solar class with Kanan. We get enough questions, so I'd love to do that. A go class, and this lovely gal in town that I have been talking to, I'm going to try and finagle her to come out and do a permaculture class because she is, I think, certified in permaculture. And especially down here, that's like a huge deal. Permaculture is kind of tough where we live. So I'm hoping to have a couple of classes. We would probably start those in about May because, of course, who knows what the rest of the winter is going to do, but probably May. And even the classes that she's going to teach, we're probably going to do them here she is getting ready to start her own, they're moving out to their own property this year, they're renting right now. So I feel like we have the facilities for it. But yeah, and I may bring her in to help me teach or whatever we're going to do, but we are talking about doing a goat class. I think that would be really beneficial. And we do have a little buck that I still need to weather, that he is going to freezer camp this year. He had an underbite problem. And I think he actually broke his bottom jaw and it set weird, but we could probably do a butcher class on how to do goat. So yeah, I'll keep you in mind for it though. It sounds like you might be interested in that. The Allenshire, do you feel like Kinder goats are worth it? Is their milk also homogenized? All goat milk is pretty much homogenized. So to get cream out of goat milk, you have to set it out for days. Or I've heard that if you pasteurize it and then refrigerate it, it'll separate out. Uh, so I have mixed emotions about the Kinder goat. One, we really like the goats themselves. I like the in between size. Things I don't like about the Kinders, they are newbie and noisy. And I'm not crazy about really noisy goats. That's part of why I don't have a whole lot of purebred Nubians. I just don't like the noise factor. Um, my Nigerians tend to be pretty quiet. The Kinders, though, are, well, I should take that back. We have three. One in particular is super noisy. Her sister is not so bad, and our buck is not terrible. But um, I don't know. We've only been doing them a year and a half. My first kidding with them this last year did not go well. One doe had a single, the other doe actually lost her baby, got stuck, and lost her baby, and it was a single as well. I know a gal that's on the board of directors and has been a big part of the Kinder Goat Association, and she has beautiful goats and she's getting great results. They're super, super good on the milk end. They're considered the only dual purpose goat, so they're nice and meaty. That said, I am working on my own breed. I've been working on my own breed for about 6, 7 years now, so it's not anything new. And we actually started that before the Kinders. Kinders are still a big glass of water, right? They're still a big goat, and I still want something a little bit smaller. I want something a little bit not as small as my Nigerians, but I want something not quite so large. But I still want that heavy, good milking ability. And so I'm actually working. Believe it or not, my Kinder Buck is part of my project on the side. So I actually saved 3 Delines this year out of my own program. So um, I like them. They're nice enough. They're not real hard on the fences. They seem to have pretty good personalities, but I cannot stand the yelling. And like I said, our first kidding didn't go well. We have the buck in right now. So hopefully this next year will be a whole lot better. So I'm still on the fence. That's why I haven't done a Kinder Goat breed video yet. Uh, I want another year to really feel. I want to see how that second kidding go and kind of see how I really feel about him after this. This is why we started small and only bought three, because to be a kinder, they have to be registered. That's the whole deal. If they're not registered, they're not a kinder. So I don't know. I don't know. I'll have to get back to you on that. I'm not sure. I'm still on the fence about it. When the weather is nice, you can always come out and meet all of our goats and see what you think of them. So, let's see. Let me get back up here. Robin, I bought I buy him from a judge. Oh, you're checkered New Zealand? That's kind of cool. Judges have really interesting side projects a lot of the time. I've seen judges show up with some wild stuff at shows. The Allenshire snow and more snow would love a goat class. Yeah, I definitely see that as part of 21. So our big focus, and you'll see this on our video coming up for 2021, but the big focus around here is growing our homestead community. So we're going to be trying to offer a whole lot more classes, which should be a lot of fun. A little terrified of the whole thing. Ray was there. He knows I made it through a rabbit class, but man, I was nervous the whole time. So let's see. Celeste, you're my go to for everything rabbit related. I keep watching your videos again and again. There is so much information in there. Thank you so much. Well, thank you, Celeste, for watching it. And I will get to your email. So I did read it and I'm kind of brewing some stuff in my head before I answer, but I did get it and I am working on a response. So to me, it looks like you're making progress from when we had talked about it before. So kudos to you for making some progress. It sounds like an interesting environment for raising rabbits down there, especially when you're talking about posing. But I have a graphic to send you to kind of figure out how you're supposed to pose a commercial that will kind of help you evaluate a little bit better. So I do have that for you. Uh, Marzi, I've learned so much from your videos, even though I'm stuck in a city and HOA right now. Oh, homeowners associations are the worst. Hopefully, you can get away from that because I've never heard anything good in homeowners associations. It's just kind of the way it is. Dennis, I had some honey goat cheese tonight and it was absolutely delicious. It was made with honey powder. That does sound good. I will admit I haven't even milked my goats yet. That was our big goal for 2020 and we got so bombarded with everything else. I feel like this whole year in general was pretty overwhelming. Um, between Kanan's job and us trying to wrap up a bunch of different projects. So we didn't get to do a bunch of stuff, but that is my dream for 2021. We are going to milk some goats and we are going to make some cheese and I am so stoked about all of that. It's going to be a lot of fun. The Allenshire. Good to know we can't have too much racket here. Yeah, that they are. Unfortunately, and some Nigerian dwarfs can be really noisy too. So you've really got to be pretty picky about what you're doing. But for sure, we can when this weather gets better. Like I said, we're going to try and do a class anyway. But if that doesn't work out, you're pretty local, so we can work something out. You guys could come visit. No, he is purebred checkered. Then I bred him to a New Zealand. Oh, okay, okay. Yeah, checker giants are a thing you don't see a whole lot anymore. And I get a lot of people who email me looking for checker giants. And I don't think I have seen one at a show outside of convention probably in 5 or 6 years. They're kind of a neat breed, but their cage requirements are really tough because they're so big and because they're a running breed and they don't do well on cage wire floors because of the way their foot is made being a running breed, so they're kind of interesting. Um, yeah, they're pretty. I've always liked them. A friend of mine raises Rhinelanders, which are very very similar, uh, and the kind of the same thing. Different kind of cages. They're a big running breed, so that's kind of neat. Danny Gunn, I crossed one of my silver fox does with my Rex buck because my silver fox buck is too fat. I saw you feed them just hay for a bit to slim them down. Can I do that in the winter if outdoors? Yep, especially if it's a silver fox. Silver fox is pretty tough in all weather conditions just because that pelt is so freaking heavy. Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. Just watch him, make sure that you're getting enough calories still in him, but I have heard from several people that I know that breed silver fox that some silver fox bucks can be a little on the lazy side and have a tendency to get a little overweight. So, yeah, I would give him some hay and cut him back on the feed or cut him off for a little bit and see if you can get him to drop that weight if you think he's too fat. Marzi, oh yeah, we're saving up for it. The whole area is infested with HOAs and investment properties. Yeah, unfortunately, they kind of spread out like locusts. I'm not really sure because I've never known anybody in an HOA that has actually enjoyed it, but it seems like you get one in an area and pretty much everything is HOA. So, the Allenshire, been thinking La Manchas. Um, I've never raised them. I can't tell you much about them other than most of your dairy breeds are noisy. Most of them. Sawnins are the only ones that I've ever heard anybody say are pretty quiet. And we had some alpines when I was a kid that weren't terrible. The problem with those alpines was that they were always gone. They were under a fence, over a fence, through a fence, and our weather was really good about using his horns and would come up behind you when you were busy and stab you in the back of the leg with them. So But Lamanches, I don't know much about. Let's see. Just anchor goose to freezer camp, and I am lining up some more for spring. Need them for the bear warning. Oh, the dogs sleep through when the bear is here. That's the Chinese goose, right? I think we talked about that before. Yeah, unfortunately, sometimes that happens. I've always heard that geese are pretty good guard type. Our geese, when we had them out behind the ducks, um, they were usually the first thing that would go off, and then they'd alert the dog, and then usually I'd hear the dog and get up if there was something going on. But we still managed to have a bobcat get a hold of one through a fence, and so the geese are moved inside. They're pretty tough, though. I like geese. I like them better than ducks. The ducks are going away. Robin, I will look up your email and send you his info. He said his mom's said the moms can be difficult. That's pretty normal for a running breed. Most of the running breeds, the moms are not they're not the best mothers to start with because they're a little high strung, but they tend to be like either overly aggressive or overly I don't care, which is kind of funny. But yeah, please do if you find it. Our email is srhomestead@yahoo. So yeah, if you have his info, send it to me. Just because I've had so many people looking for checker giants, and I'd like to see more of them. I It's kind of always sad when they sort of die out in area. Uh, I like those bigger breeds. Just I don't like them for meat breeding, but I do like to see them. I mean, I don't want any breeds to kind of disappear. Do you have an experience with French Angoras? Sort of. So I have an Angora story where my sister-in-law's mother bought two Angoras that were supposed to be English Angoras and bought them as pets. Brother, sister brought them home. Didn't neuter the buck, let them kind of free range in the house. Think you probably can all imagine where this is going. So eventually I ended up with them and come to find out they weren't even close to an English. The doe is very much a French and the buck had the ear tassels. So we figured they were somewhere in between. They were the size of a French Angora. Um, I really liked them. They were really pretty cool rabbits. I, however, have figured out that I am not good with wooled rabbits. They're just way too much work. And these, when I got them, were matted on the underside, and it takes a lot of time and dedication to shear them back and keep that wool going until it comes in the way that it's supposed to. And I didn't. I just really had trouble with it. So I had been kind of on the fence about shaving them all the way down again, and then we got toxicity, high levels of vitamin D in our feed, and they were the ones that actually triggered the warning for me and made me go, something is not right because they were smaller than a lot of the other rabbits, and they weren't on my show mix at the time, and I lost one, and then the other one started acting funny, and couldn't figure out what was like nothing. Everything I looked at could not come up with anything, and figured out that it was vitamin D toxicity, too much vitamin D in the feed. And when the second one got sick is when I started mixing everybody's feed. We hadn't had any trouble in the other rabbits yet, but they were kind of my canary in the coal mine without meaning to. Very sweet rabbits. I really did like them for personality. They were really quirky and funny. I just Angoras are just not for me. I just can't keep up with them. Jacinda, oh yes, the brown china. He was a super warning system. The dogs had zeroed in on his alarm and they knew which one was for squirrels. That was the main one the dogs rushed to the door for. That's kind of funny. They do have different honks and screams in the whole 9 yards, and most people think geese honk a, a certain way. No, ours are very distinct. They have a honk for when it's dinner time and they're trying to get Kanan to hurry up and come feed them. And they have a honk when they think they hear something funny. Yeah, they've got a whole bunch of different stuff. They're actually really cool. We have the Africans, which look very similar to the Chinese, but just a little bit bigger and bulkier. And ours are not. I've always heard that the Africans are not as aggressive as your Chinese. So I don't know. I don't know what breed you're looking at, but you might consider them if you haven't picked out a breed, because we've had Emden, we've had Toulouse, and we've had the Africans. So, Anita, I had Sonnens. They are quiet. They're nice goats. They're big goats. The Sonnens are huge, but I've always heard they're very laid back. You could probably tell me more about that than. But yeah, that's what I've always heard too. Is that they're really quiet, but they're great big white goats. They used to use them for a lot of carts and stuff in their native country, which I could not even tell you what their native country is. They are considered an alpine goat, so they're a European. But uh, the Shire, we rescued a herd of French Angoras. They were 30 young bucks, and I love them, but they were overwhelming. Biggest issue is wool plus hay equals a mess. Yes. So most Angora breeders will tell you that there is no good way to really keep your cages clean. You have to come through and torch them and burn them off. The bad thing about torching cages is that it eats the galvanized coating on the cage, so the cages don't last as long, which really kind of is a bummer. So yeah, you kind of got to know. You got to know that going in, that Angoras are a little bit more work. And a lot of my friends that raised the Jersey Woolies and the Angoras will say that the junior coat is the worst. So from the time they're a baby up to 6 or 9 months, depending on what size of Angora, that fine baby fur, baby wool is the worst to try and keep up. Like it knots really easy. Once they get into an adult coat, most breeders just take one of the big circuiteer blowers and blow the debris out of their fur or out of their wool once a week, and it's not so bad. So yeah, if you're gonna do Angoras, they're fun. They're beautiful. And one day, because I crochet a lot, I would love to have some Angoras and do my own wool. It is not in the cards for me right now. At least I'm starting to learn my own limitations, and I don't want something that I don't feel like I can be fair to the animals with. I'd love to get them and some Pygora goats. That's like my long-term vision. Thank God Kaden's in the other room because he's been telling me no for a while. So, Robin, yes, I miss him. He wasn't too bad with me, but he was attacking everyone and everything else. Yeah, geese are kind of like that. They can pick one person. Like our first flock of geese were Emden and Toulouse, and they were some crosses. I bought them as little tiny, 6, 8 inch tall goslings. And for some reason, they decided Canaan was their mother. It was so cute. They'd follow him in a line across the backyard, honking at him. And even though they were mine and I would feed and water them and he didn't do anything with them, man, they'd attack me. They were horrible, but they thought Canaan was their mother. So apparently, bearded men are the mother of geese. I don't really know how that works, but Elijah Esner, hi everyone, sorry I'm late. That's okay, you're here. That's all we care about. We have 2 geese that we are fostering and we love them. We will definitely get more in time. And the nice thing about geese, as opposed to ducks, water requirements way lower. They still make an ever loving mess out of water, but yeah. Jacinda, that's what I wanted was the Africans, but mom wasn't willing to part with her babies, as only 3 had hatched out this year. But I have 3 spoken for the spring. Well, that's cool. Yeah, I eat anything just raise them up and see what you think. If you start getting more obnoxious jerks, I guess you'll decide to go with something else. But you never know. Sometimes you just get one bad egg, I guess. But yeah, you never can tell from year to year. And I mean, it's the same way with chickens. We'll hatch out a bunch, and 1 year it seems like all the roosters are jerks, and the next year they're fine. So, uh, Alan Shire, yes, the coats are awful on juniors. Yeah, that's what I've always heard. Jacinda, you will need a spinning wheel with all those fiber animals. That is my dream, though. I think that's so cool. So, if you are ever at a rabbit show and you see a lot of Angoras there, what always ends up happening is, especially a good spring show, because Angora people tend to be outside because barns get too warm and they don't like to be in. I have seen the coolest stuff of you'll come out and there'll be like 8 or 9 of these ladies, and it reminds you of the old-timey quilting bees, but they all have their spinning wheels out there and they're spinning. And I just think it's like I want to be part of that club, but I'm so not ready to be part of that club yet. We have a one of the directors in the Harlequin Club does Jersey Woolies, and she's a spinner. And when I've seen her videos online or her pictures on Facebook, I'm like, I have spinning wheel jealousy. I just want one so bad, but I don't have time. I just don't. And I know that. So one day. Elijah Esner, I have a lion head Angora mix, mostly Angora, lots of brushing. Yep. Lots of brushing, lots of clipping. That's kind of the better way to go. The Allenshire Ganders get obnoxious in spring. Just give them a couple of months. Yeah, ours get real hollery and yelling, but the rest of the time, I mean, even then, if we've got them outside, they don't really bother anybody. They just want to talk about it. The Allenshire, me too. I want to learn to spin someday. I I will say that is one thing I'd like to do this next fall. So, like I said before, 2021 is about teaching and building community around here for homesteading. I have some friends that are in the Angora community, and I would totally love to get somebody out here in the fall to do a basic spinning class and to kind of talk about Angora care and that kind of stuff. So I'm working on that. It's going to come down to how the whole COVID thing plays out. Uh, but I'm working on that's one of my ideas in the back burner is possibly to get somebody out here that can talk. Um, yeah, talk a fleece and not just that does rabbits, but spins a lot of sheep and pygora and that kind of stuff. I think that'd be really cool. And yeah, I guess we'll see what happens with that. Uh, mo lol wheel envy. It just looks so relaxing, and I'm sure it's not, but it looks. We had a fair a couple years ago, and it was the same thing. We came in, and there was a lady. I want to say she raised goats, but she was spinning it, and I was just like, "This looks so relaxing." But it also is really, really time consuming. So I don't know. We'll see. One of these days, maybe. uh, Marzi, oh cool. I want to spin too. I saw a lady spinning a mix of Angora and poodle hair. That's interesting. I had a question one time of somebody asking on one of the LGD videos if we do anything with the Pyrenees fur, because I guess that's a thing. In the Pyrenees Mountains, that's one of the things that the dogs were used for is the hair to make into yarn and stuff. I'm not sure how I feel about wearing dog fur, but or dog hair. But that's I mean, I wear a lot of dog hair. We have 7 dogs, but yeah, it's kind of an interesting thing. I'm not sure I'd want to do that, but yeah, poodle hair, huh? That'd be kind of cool. Jacinda, yes, I'd love to have an Angora. I already have the spinning down. You have spinning down? I'm jealous now. When you get a wheel, try to find someone to try some out first. Yeah, people fall in love with a certain type of wheel. I've heard that. I've seen all kinds of stuff now, and yeah, I've heard that. Like anything, it's kind of like working with yarn. Some people are knitters, some are crocheters, and it seems like everybody's got a different thing. So, Alan Shire, yes, awesome idea. Robin, spinning wheel would be awesome. Like no time. I knit, crochet, quilt, basically about all the crafts except no tatting. I have not been able to quilt in years. I like it, I just don't have time for it. Hopefully, some of that's gonna change. I've got some stuff in the works that we'll see how it goes, but crochet, this is my big time of year to crochet. I don't knit, but I do have a kit, and I'm gonna try and learn how to do that, so Elijah, do geese wander a lot? I always wanted to add them, and we have the room, but our house is close to the road. Do they need a pond? Our pond is close to the road also. They don't need a pond, they like a pond. We had some in Tennessee, and ours never really went anywhere. They would kind of go down. So we were on a little gravel road, and there was a little depression in there that would catch a lot of water, and they would go down there. Ours here don't go anywhere. The most I've ever seen them is maybe 100 yards from their building. They really don't go anywhere. They know where their home is, and they kind of pretty much stay right there. So mm, I was in the barn, so my throat's a little dusty. Let's see. Jacinda, they say it's good to fight dementia as it uses different areas of the brain and it relaxes you. I could see that. There's a lot of crafts and stuff that they say that it helps a lot. Let's see. Alan Shire. Da-da, da-da. Robin South. Dog fur is really hot is what I'm told. I I have no idea. That's a new one on me. Now I'm curious now. I'd have to go research it. That's what they use the Afghan hounds for. A lot of the big sight hounds that actually have a lot of fur, they do that with too, and they crochet and or not crochet, but spin and make stuff out of. So you use what you got, I guess. Marzi, the poodle hair was just to enrich the color. It still sounds good. Anita, oh, good. I'm not the only one with spinner envy. It seems like a lot of people. My girlfriends and I talk about this all the time because we hang out at shows and then we'll go outside to get something and then we walk by and we're always like, that looks so cool. Like we want to be part of that club, but we all know that we don't have time for it right now. So maybe one of these days we'll all turn that corner and decide to become spinners and then I can join the Angora Club. But I think I'm a long way away from that. I'm pretty sure that would cut into some of the projects around here, and I don't really think I'm going to get Kanan on board with that. I don't think he can hear me either, which is even better. But not yet, not yet. Maybe someday. Like I said, I've always dreamed of Pygoras, and one of the girls that I mentor in the rabbits, she has Pygoras, her and her sister, and I have total Pygora envy. I see her pictures on Instagram and Facebook, and I just love them. But I also think about the fact that I have bucks here, and oh my gosh, I can't imagine getting buck scent in that Pygora hair. Robin, cool kids club. Yeah, I'm sure they feel like it too, because they're all like hanging out, and it's very sometimes you'll go by and they've got music playing and they're chatting and they're in a big circle and yeah, I mean it's very exclusive. It's very you get that in a lot of breeds where they're kind of doing their own thing, but man, those Angora people are like all in this little group and they got their wheels and they're spinning. It's pretty cool looking. I'm not part of that club yet, but Marzi, I love to crochet too. I should get back into it. I get intimidated by the patterns. My mom is a killer crochet artist. She does some beautiful Afghans and she's always showing me stuff when I go over there. And I will admit that I like to do it, but I'm not a complicated. It needs to be an easy pattern and I use it for my downtime, my de-stress. So while Kanan's watching TV or we're watching a movie we've seen before, I it just works the tension of the day out for me. So I don't want anything elaborate. I don't really want to follow patterns. I just kind of want to like do I make a lot of hats. You probably see them in my videos, but I make a lot of hats. I made a scarf for somebody for Christmas. I like real easy type stuff because it's just a little downtime stuff. So it's just kind of the way it is for me. Um just saying I'm not on Facebook. Okay. Yeah, a lot of our viewers are not on Facebook anymore, and a lot of people have dumped Facebook, of course, not liking the censorship and that kind of stuff. So just kind of the way it works. But I was trying to think. I had another question that I was going to cover, and then I kind of got derailed into all the cool stuff you guys were talking about. Um, so we do have some more videos coming out in the next couple weeks. Like I said, I'm feeling good. Hopefully that stays going. So I've got we're gonna have a video probably next week or the week after talking about sore hocks because that's been something I've been getting a lot of questions about. What causes sore hocks and what the best treatment is and what you need to do for that. So that's going to be probably next week. I know we've got a holiday in there, so we'll kind of see how the whole thing works out around Christmas and New Year's because we've got family coming in from out of town. So, but I do have one talking about sore hocks. Big Al has asked me about doing a video about bot flies and fly strike. So I'm working on that. The biggest thing there is I've never had either one of them in my rabbits. So I've been trying to I've had bot flies in the dogs and I've had fly strike in chickens and llamas. So I know how to deal with it. I'm basically looking for some pictures which are going to be really super gross. Um, some other videos that we've got coming up for the rabbits are birth defects and stuff like that. So I've got some really cool videos there and malocclusion. when you should cull for it, when you should let it go, what you should do about it if you've got malocclusion and some overgrown teeth in your herd. So all that's coming up here pretty soon, probably in the next month, because I try and keep rabbit videos down to like once a month. And then Robin, I'm still working on the goat video. I got my bucks moved over. Now the girls have been quiet. So I'm trying to get in there and get them while they're heat cycling to kind of talk about that. That's kind of all the videos I have going right now. As we get closer to spring, we'll have some more stuff on the quail. Hopefully, I'll have a review on this incubator that is kind of sort of working in the back room. Seems to be working. Bought a super cheap Chinese one, and we'll see how it works out. Um, yeah, so we've also got some chicken breed videos coming up. Um, I have been kind of quiet about it. If you follow me on Facebook, you've probably seen it, but I don't think that I've got it on Instagram. We brought home some satins last week. So we will have a new breed video talking about satins and some other stuff going on with the satins. So you're going to start to see them popping up in some of my videos here pretty soon. I brought home a trio, and then a good friend who breeds them is giving me two more. So I will have, I'll even probably start selling pairs and trios of satins this spring, even because the ones that I bought are actually breeding age. So that's kind of a new thing going on around here. And trying to think what else we've got going on. That's probably the big stuff. So there's a lot of stuff from last year that we didn't get to that we're going to start doing here pretty soon. Some new regenerative ag type projects and that kind of stuff. But that's kind of the high points. So if nobody has anything else, I know we're believe it or not knocking on an hour already. We're at 57 minutes. If nobody has anything to ask or add or anything like that, we'll probably go ahead and end it here in just a minute. It looks like the only other comments I see is ladies talking about some crocheting. Ellen Shire, are satins meat rabbits? Yes. So satins are considered one of the big three. So the main three meat rabbits most popular in the United States are New Zealand's, Californians, and satins. They tend to be more expensive. Uh, for a whole host of reasons. Their nickname is Satan's. That tell you a little something about the personality. They make really killer pelts. They have a translucent hair shaft, but you'll see a whole bunch more about them in the videos coming up. Um, yeah, as long as you're not looking for a super friendly rabbit, they are really kind of cool to have. I've been thinking about getting them for years, and it just kind of turned out that somebody local had them, and we decided to bring some home. So yeah, they are meat rabbits, though. They will get really big really fast, and like I said, I'll have the three that I just bought in a video here pretty soon, and you'll kind of be able to see them. But they are New Zealand size, so I think standard for bucks is 9 to 11, 10 to 12 for does. So Celeste, looking forward to the videos. Please take care of yourself. Back pain is a bugger. Keep safe and speak to you soon. Yes, Celeste, I will get an email back to you this week for sure. Just trying to figure out. I'm looking through your pictures and trying to evaluate everything to give you some tips. And like I said, I've got a good graphic for you. But let's see, Marzi, that all sounds good. I'm excited. I'm not excited to film it, but I'm excited to get it done for you. Jacinda, glad your back is feeling better. Don't overdo it. I will do my best. I'm not always good at doing my best, but I will do my best there. The Allenshire makes butchering easier. Yeah, a true meat rabbit does make it a whole lot easier. So that is it, guys. I think I covered all of the whole two whopping questions that I actually had going into this, and we've chatted about all kinds of stuff. So thank you everyone for coming and spending a little time with me for today. And I don't know if we'll do one next Monday or not, but I'm probably gonna start making these the thing instead of Mailbag Monday. I like doing the Mailbag Monday, but they take me a little time and forethought to do ahead of time. As 4-H gets kicked off and stuff this next month, some Mondays I won't be able to do just because of 4-H meetings. So Marzi, it's been fun. Glad I finally caught one. Me too. Alan Shire, have an amazing Christmas. You guys too. Everybody have a great Christmas. Spend some time with your loved ones if you can. Um, yeah. Happy holidays to everybody. And that's it for me. I will see you guys next time. Bye bye.